Hey there, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making some recipes that do require you using your oven, but they are all so good. I think these recipes are truly pretty simple and I'm excited for you to see them, so let's go ahead and get on into it. First up, we're starting off with this potato and chicken with a Parmesan cream sauce. I went ahead and preheated my oven to 400 degrees. Next, you'll want to go ahead and peel and cube 5 medium-sized potatoes. I had about 7 here this time just because a couple were smaller, but you want to have about 5. Moving on to my chicken, I have 4 boneless, skinless chicken thighs here. You can use up to 6 in this recipe, but mine were pretty large this time, so I just stuck with 4. You will want to season these on both sides using salt, pepper, and Italian seasoning. There are no measurements, just make sure to season it well. Once seasoned, I'm adding them into a skillet with some olive oil that is nice and hot. And at this point, you are not going to cook these all the way through, you just want to brown up the sides. Once I finish those two, I will move on to the second two, and then same thing, just remove those over to the plate for right now. Into the same skillet, once all the chicken is nice and browned, I'm adding in 1 tablespoon of butter and just letting that melt down, and then you will add in 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. I let that garlic cook in here for about 30 seconds or so. Now I'm just adding in 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. I'm going to get this combined with that garlic and butter and let it cook for about a minute or so until it has started to turn a nice light golden brown color. Now add in 1 cup of low sodium chicken broth. I tried to add that in slowly and just whisk between each addition. Continue to whisk that until all the lumps have gone out of your sauce and it has thickened up a bit. To season this, I'm adding in 1 teaspoon of thyme, a half teaspoon of basil, and then just a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. Your sauce should be pretty thick at this point, so now we're going to add in a half cup of half and half. Slowly mix that in until it is completely combined. Now I'm adding in a half cup of Parmesan cheese. Last time I used freshly shredded because I had it on hand. Tonight I did not, so I just used some grated Parmesan cheese. You will get the Parmesan flavor from either one, so whichever one you have available, use that one. I slowly added that in until it was completely melted in my sauce. I did taste mine and decided I wanted a little bit more pepper in there, so that is what I'm doing here. And now once everything is all ready to go, we're going to layer it in our casserole dish. First, I'm taking my chicken thighs and adding those to the very bottom. Like I said, these are not all the way cooked, but they will finish in the oven. Next, I'm taking my potatoes and just pouring those over the top, making sure to spread them out. 1 can of Italian-style green beans, and again, just spreading those out evenly across the top. And then finishing this off with that Parmesan cream sauce. I'm going to dump that all over the top, making sure to spread it around and try to cover all of the potatoes, that way they do not harden up in the oven. I stuck this in the oven to bake for about 45 minutes to an hour. You just want to make sure that your potatoes get fork tender. Here is what my finished plate looked like. I definitely recommend using chicken thighs in this recipe. Chicken breasts will really dry out with this one. But this is a dinner that I love so much because it really is easy. There is a little bit of prep work, but it turns out so good and so comforting. It's a great fall and winter meal. Up next, we're making this enchilada ravioli bake, and I did share this about 7 or 8 months ago and had some really great feedback on Instagram with it, so I wanted to share it again, and also my husband was asking for it, so here we are. First thing I am doing is just preheating my oven to 375 degrees. Next, into the bottom of a 9x13 casserole dish, I am just adding in a little bit of mild enchilada sauce. I like to use the red, but you can use green if you want to. Last time I only used one small can of enchilada sauce, so this time I am using, I think it's a 23 or 24 ounce can, and it was much better. I added a small amount of that enchilada sauce into the bottom of this 9x13 just so my ravioli would not stick to the bottom. Next, I'm taking some beef ravioli and just spreading half of that bag along the bottom of my dish. Next, I'm taking 1 can of drained and rinsed black beans and sprinkling half of that can over the top of the ravioli. Next, add half a can of diced tomatoes with green chilies. I did drain this, but not enough, so make sure you drain yours really good before adding it on. Over the top of the tomatoes, I am adding about a half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of shredded Mexican style cheese. And then I'm adding a little bit more enchilada sauce over the top of that. Just like a lasagna, we're going to repeat those layers, so I'm adding on my ravioli, black beans, tomatoes, enchilada sauce, and then the rest of my bag of cheese. I cover this up with some foil, and then this is going in the oven to bake for about 40 minutes to start. After 40 minutes in the oven, I did take it out and remove that foil. And then this is going back into the oven for 10 more minutes uncovered. Here's what it looks like coming out of the oven, and then this is what my finished plate looked like. We like to top ours with a little bit of sour cream and green onions. This time it had so much more sauce and was much more enjoyable than the last time, but this dinner is just so unique. I love it so much. Now we are making this pepperoni pizza bake, and if you have kids or a picky husband like I do, you really can't go wrong with this dinner. I started by preheating my oven to 350 degrees, and then I got a pot of water boiling on my stove. Once it was boiling, I did go ahead and add in my pasta. I'm using 12 ounces of rotini, but you can use any type of pasta that you prefer. Once that was cooked through, I did just drain that, and then I added in 1 large jar of pizza sauce. 1 cup of chopped pepperoni. I prefer using turkey pepperoni just because it's so much less greasy than your regular pepperoni. So if you don't like your pasta to be greasy, definitely try using the turkey pepperoni. Next, I'm adding in 1 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese, 1 teaspoon of oregano, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, but you can leave those out if you want to, and a 1/2 teaspoon of parsley. Once all that is in there, I am just going to give this a really good mix to combine everything together. Sorry about the angle on this video here, I must have bumped the camera or something, but over to a 9x13 or similar, I am just going to dump that entire pot of pasta in there. I did spray it down just to be sure that nothing would stick in the end. I spread that around nice and even, and then we're going to top this off with more mozzarella cheese. Over the top, I'm adding about a cup to a cup and a half of shredded mozzarella cheese. Just make sure that you cover it nicely. And then I'm also just adding some Parmesan over the top as well. If you don't have Parmesan, don't sweat it. You don't need it. I just had it in the fridge, so I went ahead and added it over the top. And now I'm just going to layer the top of this with more of my turkey pepperoni. To really finish this off, I'm just taking some more of that parsley and sprinkling it over the top, that way it can kind of cook down into the cheese a little bit. This is going into the oven to bake for about 15 minutes, just long enough to warm it through completely and to melt the cheese on the top. Here is my finished plate. I did just add a little bit more of that Parmesan cheese over the top. This really is a simple dinner that I think most people, including your kids, will probably love, so definitely give this one a try. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I really appreciate you spending your time here. Don't forget to leave me a flower down in the comments below, and I will see you guys back here next time. Bye!